Hey guys, it is May the 15th, 3 p.m., 2025. We got a Bitcoin price of 103. We got a market that's going absolutely insane. And we have Donald Trump making monster moves all over the planet. It's so exciting. And I am here to share some really cool information that I've been working on with a lady named Jennifer Katrulya, who's become a friend of mine and involved. She's heavily involved in the family office space. She used to work for a large accounting audit tax firm. I met her maybe 3 years ago at one of these parties I throw, and was really intrigued with her access to the world of family money and highly connected people all over the world. A world I know very little about. Anyway, she and I have come together. She's done a lot of help, been a lot of help with me on my investment with N40, which is the digital asset tax audit forensic tracking technology that I invested in a few years ago. And the more of this we did, we held an event. I think, in fact, let me bring Jen up and introduce her, and we'll talk about our event. It was really, really awesome. Let me bring her up. Jen, good to have you here. So appreciate you taking the time. I know you're in New York, I think, at a trade show, right?
I am today. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, good to have you. So, Jen, why don't you give the audience? I'm going to just put the frame on you. Give the audience a little bit about where you're from, what your background is, and like maybe even a funny story how you and I came together, and then we'll chat a little bit about our last event, and then what you and I are planning.
That's great. Well, Gary, thank you very much, and again, cool to be on here. I have spent the last couple of decades in the family office space, really organically out of a family business, and that evolved into a larger enterprise and exited serving high net worth clients, and then also corporate, so institutional relationships that we had. Parallel to that, I have been a partner in, as you mentioned, a large accounting firm for a number of years and exited last summer. And prior to that, have been in the family office space as a community and education space for a number of years. So meeting you was great. As you mentioned, there were a couple points of outreach on the technology side, and then also through family office, and you had a great event. And as things evolved, really my entry into all of this has been through the regulatory and compliance space, as a repeat of what I did about 10 years ago when cloud accounting was the thing and the playbook was being written in terms of how that would evolve across the professions. And for family offices, they tiptoed in to, it was internet and cloud that was the big concern and fear then, but also the opportunity. And you see that playing out again now. So it's really cool to see the institutional conversations happening as they try to bridge the gap and connect with family offices. They, and see that gold mine in private capital. So everybody's kind of chomping at the bit to see the regulatory issues clear and really be able to step into it heavily. And that preparation is awesome. So seeing the responsibility for N40 and also the opportunities is really cool.
Yeah, you brought up some really interesting points. I think for the audience, I was on a thing this morning. We were talking about tax and audit in this particular space and how complex it is. And my response is, well, it's complex because there's been no investment in this space. I mean, the Ferrari got built before the road. That's the analogy I use. You've heard me use that before. Um, when you talk about the cloud computing space, what I'm looking for, are you seeing a similar not late to the party, but oh wow, this is now happening, and you have a flood of money come into the cloud computing world. There's a lag in
There's a
innovation,
lag
right? Yeah. Where,
for
where do
sure.
you think, based on that experience, where do you think, are you seeing a similar lag as they went into 2.0 or Amazon, the internet, the cloud computing world? Are you seeing the same family offices lag in the same way into Bitcoin?
For yes, for a couple of reasons. I think first is still the kind of outside in look at the space and our friends are doing it, or we hear about it increasingly from our investment advisors. Are we ready as a family to make the leap? And so a lot of families are being brought in, through their next generation or through, again, family leaders who are excited to enter. I think the other one, and you're seeing this now come through the institutional level players, where they're saying, hey, we need to get to the RIAs and we need to find out where they're rolling up to, because they really are going to be the ones who drive this messaging and who give that sign that it's a peaceful and appropriate way for the families to enter. So they're really looking for their advisors to get on board and say the coast is clear. This is a great place to enter. It fits your risk portfolio as a family. And then here's actually how you accomplish it, because there still feels like this foreign land in terms of how to actually get in and play in it.
Yeah. Yeah. Before we get into too many, I'll probably jump the gun there, but like you and I did an event, and I think, was it March of last year? Or,
February.
it was February of this year. February of this year. Already had a long year. Well, when one of your main investments goes from 48 to 103, it's been an interesting year. So you and I held an event here. We had three at my home.
Yes.
Which one of the ways you and I kind of were talking one day, I was like, man, I've been all these trade shows. I hate going to them. They're not curated for me. When the speakers are up there, they then leave, get on in their private car, and they Uber off. And I don't get to talk. I don't want to stand in line begging somebody to speak to me. It's been a bad return on investment for me. And I was like, I think I really know what a great show is. And then you told me about all the families and some of the bespoke stuff you had done prior. I'm like, that's what we need to do. And the other thing is, I like having a place to go to that's neutral and they're not selling me stuff.
Right.
And so we created something in February. I'd like you to tell everybody like how that event went, what the feedback was, what the structure of the event is. Bitcoin Miami's come up. Bitcoin Vegas is coming up here in 2 weeks. I will go to it, but there is under no circumstances will I achieve the interaction that I achieved spending 2.5 days here. No way, because we build it so that people can communicate with everyone and really learn about the whole value chain. That's we're trying to break through, because you're going to tell me, hey, the family offices are lagging to come in here because this is so complicated and there's so much different information.
Well,
want to get color on that?
Yeah, that's really important, because it's actually come up several times, even over the last week, where some of the larger event hosts have been reaching out to me saying, look, we've done a really good job in what are now sort of the, I guess, known and commonplace conversations of building these big shows. And we focus on the panels on the stage and bringing, thousands of attendees. And as these conversations evolve, that's not working, because we need to get, let's say 75, 100 people in the room and deep dive into the education where you can also have the conversations. So I think what, really worked so well at the event at your home is having the thought leaders across the space. And it's almost unfortunate that you can bring most of the, I guess, the group that people seek out most into such a small space, which really tells you there's the need for so many more. And then meaning that in 100 people, you can get the people that you're going to right now, the leaders across the space. So you hope that continues to expand. And then, but being able to do that in the home environment allowed everyone really to get into conversations throughout the 2.5 days that we're hearing continue. So I know you're hearing it too, where collaborating, whether it's on, business ventures that have been in motion and now are working collaboratively, into the just increased interest, whether it's tokenization of real estate assets, whether it's being able to talk about the future of investing and feeling more confident about. You use a great platform. Even I know that you monitor your investments, handle your portfolio mix, your risk assessment, all of those pieces. We had conversations from the venture capital side, how increasingly VC is playing through the space. But then really that family office planning, how they get in, how they educate themselves, how they manage risk, and how they are seeing that build out through founders and funders in both venture capital and private equity. And the way that people came out and found their place in the mix, again, just at the larger events where it's a show, isn't really happening. So that also led to, of course, the founding of the Digital Asset Academy with a really focused set of training courses that family office CIOs, accountants, and others can now take and earn certification. And it's meant to continue to drive that standardization, but also the conversations.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the things I was really impressed by was that the amount of, well, one, you did an awesome job of bringing in a ton of families, which a bunch of my buddies showed up from the crypto world. They learned a lot from talking to these families. These were, very ardent Bitcoiners, and they kind of woke up realizing, wow, none of these families care about like custody
Right.
because they custody very few of their own products today, right? Their wealth is not custodied by themselves. That was a wake up call for my friends, because when it comes out of my mouth, they're like, oh my God, Gary's, one of the legacy suits. But when it comes out of 14 different families who are managing 300 million to $3 billion, it becomes clear to the audience in the crypto world, oh, wow, their lives are much more complicated. And they've been set by a pattern of 20, 30 years. You don't just unwind all that. Like, they have an accounting firm. If the accounting firm doesn't know anything about crypto, like that's an issue. That's a friction point, right? You want to talk a little bit about like one, the quality of people that come to these shows and why? Like, why are we able to get the institutional guy from Coinbase or, in fact, Kraken? All of them want to come now. Why does that happen? Because I mean, they're all going to go to Bitcoin. Why would they do 3, 4, 5, 6 events with a group like ours?
So, well, and again, let me say thank you, because you did allow us to put 100 people in your living room. So thank you for that. And but you're hearing it again daily, in that this is a ground up build, that communication and conversations with the families. These are institutional level families with $1 billion plus in AUM, or certainly massive amounts of wealth, that are looking for this education and the collaboration. But there's comfort in the room, right? Meaning that they want to be able to bring these families into a room where those who are still a little bit on the fence and are tiptoeing in can speak with those who have the formula, at least, that's working for them, and get that comfort level to take those next few steps forward. And again, both the best practices and the learning moments come from their peers. So you can bring in institutional level speakers all you want, but people are going to learn and learn from and trust their friends. And so bringing everybody in a room, and it doesn't happen in the first 6 hours. It happened, you mentioned, over the course of the couple of days, because everybody, feels that need to posture for a good first day. And then, once you start to build those relationships and get that comfort level, then the real stories ultimately start to come out, and the real collaboration. So I think it's that combination of the small peer groups being able to connect the great education from speakers and thought leaders, but then third, just that amount of time for it to sink in and for people to leave with the connections. I mean, we had a great group, an incredible group of speakers, but it was also important to have some of the families up there having the conversations as well, because that's where the trust starts.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I was really happy with the way we set it up. We had a party the first night on a Monday that allowed people to come and kind of break ice. And I love that it's at my home, because I've been to some of these places before. In fact, a week prior, I had flown somewhere to go to one. I flew an hour there and an hour back, and I stayed 30 minutes. And I was like, it's dark, loud, and when you're as short as me, man, you don't want to be in a loud, dark bar looking up. What I liked about it was that everyone could really get to know each other. There was no, oh wow, he's the keynote speaker, don't talk to him.
Right.
But there's nowhere to go, right? It's very safe. It's very secure. I love being in a home. You didn't have people having to walk all the way down well, I met you at an event. It was awesome. But in order for me to leave you and then go to my room, it was 20-minute walk, right? Nobody's going anywhere. They're being fed here. Then we had like
I was
8
at
hours.
a hurricane, actually. You were cleaning up from a storm. Yeah.
We had 8 hours of presentations on day one and 8 hours or so presentations on day two, and they're not pitches.
At
Like
all.
I will not allow it. Okay, there's no Coinbase sitting here going, "Hey, I need your business this morning." This is about developing really deep relationships with major players along the space and ensuring that whatever your agenda is, it fits your agenda. That's the cool thing about crypto. This does not have to just be one way. There's so many solution providers, and it's really about putting the right people in the room together. What was the feedback? Did anybody complain? What did we do wrong? What could we do better?
So you know what I think for first of all, first run in N40 was brand new. You can never thank enough the people. I always look at it that the people who show up in the room. I mean, you mentioned the institutional level players who came. They set the tone because everybody looks first at who's going to show. So you're forever grateful to those who say, "Okay, I know this is the first run at it. I believe in what you're doing. I want to lend my support." And they also know that they can make the room. I mean, they're asked every day to step in and speak. So I think that becomes critical because then everybody checks that list first. And am I going to jump in now or am I going to wait till you prove this out? And without that kind of support, you never get to prove it out. So that was step one, is that you have such a great support system, and they showed up. So that's step one. And then, you go second to, as families come out, will people make the trip? Do they want it badly enough? And they did. I mean, we saw there was zero hesitation for people to book the travel, to come in, to spend the time. There was excitement for those who couldn't attend about, "Hey, are you going to live stream this? Because we can't make it for whatever, legitimate reasons, but we still want to be in on this." And so you have to have that willingness to jump in, the excitement about it. And so I think, again, that's a combination of your reputation and also that support system coming in, and that people want it. So those who showed up to give those presentations are gunning for this to get the right traction and right respect as well. So it's a raise all ships for sure. And then you do get the families coming in who say, I want my friends to feel more comfortable about this. I want them to come in. And for those who are already in, everything is changing so fast that even those who say, and you're on about this all the time, but those who feel like today they're up to speed on everything, what's come out over the course of the last 48 hours changes so rapidly that no one can get too confident about knowing everything that's happening in this space. So staying up on it, being in that closed environment, it's also where you hear the table talk that doesn't make the news.
Right. Yeah, for sure. And you get a sense of where they're at. Like,
Exactly.
it is, I've met people through Jennifer that from Kansas. I'm like, "Hey, what do you know about Bitcoin?" "Oh, I'm mining Bitcoin. I've been mining Bitcoin for 3 years." I'm like, "What? You're an 800-year-old family and you're mining Bitcoin?" Well, it only takes a 50-year-old that, "Hey, look at this little opportunity over here." One guy. Some really fascinating people too. They have fascinating stories, these people. You talked a little bit about, I've just been talking about the parties we do, which are awesome, but it's not just parties, right? This is also an accreditation platform to get people up to speed on crypto. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So I want to make sure that I draw the distinction that you're not getting college credit or anything formal at this point out of this, but as a repeat of kind of back
Well,
to,
we all know that college credits aren't worth anything. So
there's a big camp agreeing with you. So I'm in that boat as well. And a lot of discussion for a different day on that. But in terms of the academy, around 10, 11 years ago, I had the opportunity to work with the heads of the accounting profession, which then spread across the other professions, but really to lead best practice training when cloud accounting, but also outsourced advisory services became the thing in the accounting space. So I was the founding writer and trainer for the Trusted Business Advisor program that was released by CPA.com. And that was such a privilege. And then to sort of where we started the conversation, you're now seeing across digital assets where everybody kept pushing that down the road and didn't necessarily want to embrace it. All of a sudden, last fall and come into this year, whole different conversation. And so now you have this need for the education across the firms, because those who don't step into it and don't at least become educated enough to offer those services risk having their clients go to those who can and those who are in support of these service offerings and are able to actually provide it. The generalist approach isn't going to work for this. So there were a number of places, but certainly a couple of key conversations where we were given a list of, hey, if we could have our wish list of target criteria and curriculum for an academy, this is what we'd like. And we haven't been able to find the resource to do it. And so going through it, it certainly has everything from your basic level players and those coming in new to the most advanced, where the top four, are playing in that space. And to be able to provide, you also have a situation where the leaders of family offices, the CIOs, are going through their own career displacement and needing to be relevant in these family offices. So bringing this certification out allows the CIOs to say, okay, I've jumped on board. I am actually moving with the world and getting into this and getting certified so that I can provide services to those families who are jumping in and who want to or are already heavily invested and need the right stewardship. And so getting that certification, as you know, we're receiving inquiries from a number of the states who want more information about how to get involved with this, more of the other institutional players. And the fact that that's so needed at this point and so underserved really creates a great opportunity here. And so it's nice to have, the support from the professions as well.
You just made me think about all the lobby people that I've helped through the Bitcoin thing, like the Dennis Porters of the world. Why wouldn't we tap into him and go, hey, look, let's get these Congress people and like boned up on some of these academies. Just remind me. Let's follow up on that, because I think these lobbyists are talking to these people all the time, and I think some of what our struggle in getting adoption is at the political level is education.
Yes.
Neutral education. It has to get. It can't come from a crypto source that people think it's got an agenda on it. It needs to come from just neutrality. And most certainly we're there now, right? You have a flow of volume now. This is the time when you'd want tools like this where a parent could send. Talk me through who would enjoy these academies, and are they expensive, or like what? Give me an understanding on who and how they take these courses.
Sure. So in terms of who, we have it in two tracks. The first is the professional track for accountants, CIOs, those who want a certification at the end of this. And so it is geared toward those who are going to provide advice in some way to others. And so we do have that professional track. It's modular, so you access it online. It's through either N40 membership, if you want to be a year-round member, have access to the social events for those who want to, and other resources as well, and be part of just the ongoing conversation. For those who just say, I just want right now the learning, it's an online option to subscribe to take the courses. There are the check-in exams just for progress, and then at the end, you still have the option to obtain that certification. And then each year there'll be, similar to other platforms, a required annual upkeep, just so that we're sure we're continuing to put out a quality certification across the I guess arena. From a family office perspective, the goal is that you as a family, the leaders of the family, their children, as you're passing this on, everybody needs to be able to have the same conversation, because what you are seeing is the children of getting involved, and that creates a risk within the family if there's not the ability to provide supervision. And the terminology, of course, is so different that you don't just jump in and even understand the language. And this is so incredibly important. You have significant money being invested by your kids in many families in this space. So there's that family requirement. It's also a bonding thing to be able to stay relevant within your own family and have these conversations. So as you talk about so often, this is a $1 trillion plus space. So it's not something that is just a a side hobby. Certainly, it has significance. So being able to provide that same structure, that modular based education, the workbook type structure is meant more for a family environment for discussion and to drive that through the. Now at the end, if you want to obtain a certification, just kind of as a self check, you have that option. In terms of the cost structure, you can sign on and take specific courses if you want to. And so those are, $99 and up. If you want to take the whole training, then for the professionals, you're at a $19.95 training with ongoing support for the
That's $2,000
Yes.
for the year.
Yes.
Oh wow!
For the training, for the certification.
That's $150 a month. That's ridiculous.
So,
By
so
the way,
Gary's coming back to me later. So we'll be changing it. So you better take it now before that gets adjusted. And for the families, the same. The membership again to involve the social aspects and the ongoing networking, et cetera. Those are $5,000 and up memberships, and then we have our corporate levels as well.
Right. And is there opportunities for the corporates to, when you say that, I guess there's opportunity for the corporates to sponsor the party and be there, be the speaker, that's, I mean, I think it's good for people to know that we do this as a collaboration with people, right?
Yeah, so there's really three pillars. The first is the education, which now we've talked about for a few minutes. The second is what we'll call I call it the club portion of N40, which is the social events, is the opportunity for people to come together and share time at your home or time at, whether it's in New York or Miami or wherever else we do this and bring people together to have the conversations. We'll often do those in collaboration with other events. And that really drives the third piece, which is collaboration. So across the tech founder space, wanting to help raise all ships there. And that, to your point, I'll say tech and services. We want to bring the best of every group together and say, okay, let's do this as a team. And in that, I call it really a collaborative investment. And that's where the corporate level memberships come in to say, okay, we're bringing this together. You bring your best and brightest of your companies and of your family, your private capital groups, your institutional groups, and let's get everybody in one room. And so that investment in those corporate level memberships provide for geographical consideration. It also is based on how much airtime contribution, and that's happening on the academy side as far as content and training as well.
Yeah, when you use the term social for the social benefits, I actually think it's the cool thing about crypto that I've never, or Bitcoin, that I've not experienced in any other industries that I've ever participated in, is the open door nature of crypto. The for some reason, because we're all building this together from scratch, it's only 15 years old, there seems to be less ego and less protectionism that I experienced in payments, fintech, energy. It took me 3 years to get in a meeting with Exxon, which is, why would they need to meet with me, right? Here, I call the head of NIDIG. It's like, hey, next week, let's go. So I would say that what we're really trying to do is really plug the whole space into each other, where there's so much here.
Yeah.
I mean, the last time we did this, we had people that managed trust. Lawyers were here going, hey, look, there's self-custody is a thing, but also there's another play here on legal matters and trust and how you manage a trust and how you protect yourself from being attacked. Like I've been attacked for 3 years by like class action people just trying to get some money from me, right? And once you get to a level, this stuff happens, and families are very, very interested in reducing their problems and or connecting with people. Like we had Rob Massey from Deloitte here. They sponsored the event. Rob really is one of the foremost experts. I take my hat off to Deloitte. I think he manages a couple thousand digital asset team in Deloitte. When we can bring that type of player to the marketplace and have a central space for 2 or 3 hours, I think people are stupid not to show up to these things, not to support the event. It's going to cost me 3 days in Las Vegas, a plane trip to Vegas. I'll probably lose some money. I will be exhausted because there's going to be 30,000 people there, and I really only need to meet 30 or 40, really. And so that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to curate with no agenda to me and Jen. Like I use Coinbase, we'll have Crack in there. We'll have Gemini wants to come. I do some, but I don't care if I use them or not. In fact, there were some hedge fund guys there that, of course, wanted my business. Bill was there. Bill, how do I say it? Barnett.
Yeah.
Is that saying it? Abraxas, right? So just a mountain of wealth. And they want to go to really cool places where their mountain of wealth is valued. I guarantee you half the people going to Vegas are like, oh, I have to be there just to be seen, but I'm not going to have a deep. That's what we're trying to accomplish, is a really deep connection with people that's going to last a lifetime.
You and I had that conversation the other day, actually. I know about these events, and again about the shows versus the more intimate setting. And at your home too, it made it comfortable for families who will never go to those events. You mentioned it being such a close community and such a social, but also a connected community. I've learned certainly through you also how very private that is. There are so many deep investors and people deeply committed in the space who would just would never venture out. So I think you miss a lot if you don't bring those rooms together, because that's where a lot of the best stories and the greatest history already in this is talked about.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree. Let's talk about the events we're holding in 2025 this year.
Great. So over the next several months, we'll be ramping up the academy. We have local events happening in New York, Connecticut that we'll do on a recurring basis. We've been invited to collaborate on summer events that'll be in Montauk. We're invited to only in this great group would we find ourselves in Dallas, and only would you find me in Florida in the upcoming months for things like this. But whether it's Orlando, Dallas, Austin, we have LA, San Francisco, and you certainly even have the Bay Area coming into New York for a lot of collaborative things we're having going on. And then we're looking at, so we have a shared calendar. Anybody can actually request the link, Gary, through you or through the sites, and we'll happy to share it.
Don't ask me. Do it through Jen. Okay. Don't ask me.
So happy to share, but each month we have, anywhere from 2 to 6 events, depending where you are in the country. And then as we get into fall, past that Labor Day hunt, we're actually planning to do a road tour. So there are 8 to 10 cities that we'll stop in and really spend time with a number of groups. And then looking at the October timeframe, Gary, to be back at your home.
In October. That's good. No, that'll be a nice time of the year. In fact, I'd love to grab Halloween. I love Halloween parties at my house. They are awesome.
That's actually the first party I attended, and it was great.
Oh yes, that's right. Exactly. Yeah, that was a great party. What have been your biggest ahas from the family offices about Bitcoin and this digital asset revolution?
One of the first ones, it was actually the event that you attended. We were in, where we were, Austin or Utah, I can't remember at this point, but Austin. And when the room was asked how many people actually are in digital assets, because there's the common statement that nobody's really ventured in yet, and well over half the room raised their hands as being, actively in it, and in increasingly significant amounts. So that aha, but then really, quite honestly, it was at your home where we had Sam Leichman present and others who were talking about still how confused this is and how early on we are in terms of being able to account for, report this. And of course, you mentioned N40 earlier, being able to track and report it accurately. So I think, and the conversations I've been having over the last several weeks at the institutional level about still how mired they are in the hurdles to even get this to market in a responsible way. I think that's so important because it's out there. I mean, people are invested in this. And so all the red tape that's happening at a political level to actually support the investors in the space starts to become irresponsible because this is so far out of the gate already that you're not providing the care everybody needs to be able to do this safely.
Yeah. That's one of the reasons I keep telling people to plow in, because to me, these are all indicators of how early we are. This is very normal to me. Oh, wow, there's all these things that aren't built. Well, of course, the idea ran free. And they're the best. They're the best ideas that run. They run free. Oh my God, they've tried to stop them so many times. What? How do people find out about? How would they go about finding out about, where to apply, how to become a member, how to become a receiver of the information, and then how also to participate? Let's say that Ripple or Binance wanted to support this in some way. How would they do it if they wanted to participate?
Well, so you can reach out to me on LinkedIn or on X if that's easy and that's where you're sitting. Otherwise, N40daa.com is the website, and there are a number of different buttons on there and links to be able to send in a request for more information. And certainly my cell phone number posted on there, so feel free to reach out as well. But again, we wanted to stay where it is organically growing and carefully growing. So there are a number of ways to get in contact. As Gary mentioned, those are preferred paths over reaching out to him. And happy to get information. Again, actually, if you go to the N40daa.com website and you want to jump into the academy and into membership, you can sign up right on the site as well.
Jen, what type players? We've had hedge funds, we've had options traders, we've had people that are lending against Bitcoin, we've had blockchain type people, we've had accounting, tax, audit, legal, trust management. Who else would you expect? Big institutional players that are handling, very large players. What other types in the food chain would you like to see?
I really think in the months ahead, it's going to be, and we talked about this a little bit earlier on, it's going to be the RIAs, it's going to be the roll-ups into the larger wealth management companies figuring this out. And frankly, there's a lot of conversation now directly with broker dealers about how to play in this responsibly and how to communicate in a way that across private capital, so institutional conversations are most comfortable even across the institutional players, because you can measure it. They're used to metrics. It's easy to monitor as things progress. But there's the general agreement that it's the private capital space that is the gold mine. But it also is what frightens everybody most, because it is such a gray area to so many people, or it doesn't have the same governance and feedback from a metric standpoint. So everybody figuring out how to have those conversations, how to standardize that space so it feels institutional. For those wanting to play in it, those are the things you're seeing as top priorities. And I think that's what you're going to see in the room.
Yeah, well, that's a good lead into, let me just see if I can share this with you, just to give the peeps a sense of what this website looks like. Not that it's a fancy website. Can you see this, Jen? Is this showing?
I can.
Yeah, so this is basically the website she's talking about. This shows you a little bit of the type of event where this guy was from ARK Invest, type of event we're holding, the style of it. Again, it's 2 days of pretty intense data. You can take it as you like, or not. And then there's, another probably 16 hours of connecting socially.
And Gary, since you're on it, actually,
Yeah.
if you go over to the academy, you'll see as we scroll down that there's information about the certifications. There's the I'm a family or I'm a professional. And if you scroll in, it'll take someone further through kind of the options as a family. But also, if you go back up to the top where you have the academy mentioned and the drop down there, you'll see the sample course list. And that'll give everybody an idea there of the levels of education available.
That's what I wanted to see. See foundation level digital assets 101 to foundations of taxation and digital assets. Then proficiency track, advanced taxation and compliance, portfolio management, auditing digital assets, immediate practices, the rise of NFTs, risk management in the digital economy. This is awesome.
And as you see this, now we have so many players wanting to come in and help draft. Obviously, this follows a very set path for accountants and family offices and those who are responsible for managing this in those structured settings. But from an innovation standpoint, and the courses related to just what's happening across the tech space, what's happening across the service spectrum, and these courses are going to need to continue to evolve. So it's really cool that we have the tops in really every area across digital assets saying, let's contribute to this content, let's help grow this out. So even when we talk about collaboration, that's going to show up here in the months ahead, and I think that's really exciting. So you'll see some brand associations with that, and obviously we'll be really careful about who makes it onto the site and who gets to share that content. But even seeing the willingness and the want to participate there, I think is one of the biggest pieces of resource and benefit we'll see to members in the coming months.
So it's roughly $500 if I read this correctly. It's no, it's $2,495 for an individual for the year, or corporate's about $5,000. I'm just going to advise everybody those fees will go up.
As soon as we get off this broadcast.
No, they will because look, there's I know how we throw these parties, these events, and they're expensive. In order to curate them correctly, see, there's two things you can do. You can either do the Bitcoin Vegas thing, which requires 30,000 people just to wipe your nose clean. Or we can do 300 people, charge the right amount, and have the right people there. And you're not having to deal with, is somebody going to steal my phone and try to tap into my Bitcoin? Like, there's security here. There's nobody's worried about anything here, which is a big deal to me. Like, I want to be around good people, not a bunch of gangsters. So I'm just telling people, if they the corporates don't care if they pay $5 or $20,000, they could care less. We're doing this to get interest from you, the user. If the user shows up, I can assure you, everybody and their brother will be here that's got any real data on, because the real serious players are going to want to be here talking to people that are going to be in this space for the next 10 years.
For sure.
If you're young and you're just leaving school or something, or you're a parent thinking about your kid, summer school is coming up. I would stick my nose in that bloody digital asset program ASAP, because, well, what's it going to cost you? $2,400? I mean, you can't buy that kind of education anywhere on the planet. And it's neutral. Like, we're not selling anything to anybody. You're not going to walk out of our package and go, hey, by the way, you have to buy the N40 tax program. I'm not going to do that to you. Yeah. That's why we separate. You want to talk a little bit about why we separated N40 from N40, the business that I own, for that very reason?
Yes. And really it was to be able to stay agnostic. This already was started in a very agnostic way. I mean, again, even at the event in February, certainly N40 was featured as a speaker and as a panel and as a contributor. It was in the course of best practice mix alongside other players in the same space, frankly, and across digital assets as a whole. We want to bring best of breed and options, because there's not going to be a one size fits all for everybody. So, but in doing that across the professions, and as you continue to grow and across family offices, we've already met, even since that February event, so many more who are kicking off companies that are changing and shaping the next steps forward. You have those that are disrupting. Just when you think you found your best of breed, somebody comes out with something that actually disrupts all of that and takes the next steps forward. So by not being beholden to any specific solution or any specific viewpoint, you keep that door open and saying, oh, okay, somebody's come in and changed the game again. And being able to stay at the front of all of that and share the best of whatever it is. And I think that's important in order to move this forward truly as a resource, and again, a community, and be able to represent everybody really fairly.
Yeah, thank you for that, Jen. Jen, where would people reach out to you on X? You're at Jen Kat, K-A-T.
Official. Yeah, JENKAT official. After my first account took a small nosedive, and LinkedIn, as Jen Cat as well.
You guys follow her on X, okay? She's one of these people that came in through the LinkedIn thing, and I keep telling her, no, you need to move, man. All the action's on X. You guys pound this lady, Jen Cat Official, OFFICIAL. Pound this lady with a ton of followers. Hellos, we welcome you to the Cardone Crypto Club or whatever you want to say to her. But let's get her converted to off the old LinkedIn blood sucking machine and get her into X where all the excitement is. At Jen Cat Official, correct?
Yes.
And then on LinkedIn, Jen, where are you on LinkedIn?
Well, Jennifer Katrulya. So you can look at me by full name, and I think it's posted up there in the header. But also Jen Cat is the short version if you just do it by URL.
Awesome, awesome. You guys reach out to Jen if you're interested in this. If you think you can supply some services or help, we most certainly need help in intellect. And closing comments, Jen, other than how wonderful it is to work with me.
Well, Gary, you took it. So I was going to say, actually, it's really been such a privilege, and in a number of ways, I'm very, very grateful. You have been such a stand-up person and so committed to this space and all in with regard to the technology, the community, families. And you've even mentioned before, this is so much a part of your family. I mean, wanting to just bring the best forward and help with the space you believe in so strongly. So thank you. And I think, that the months ahead, you're seeing truly a raise all ships, even in what we've done here and in the relationships made across the space with the leaders of the top companies in the space. That's such a great feeling because I feel so privileged to become a part of that and the relationships we're developing. So I just think you're going to see more of that and certainly weed out anything that doesn't belong. So you keep getting the best of in the months ahead. I think the education is going to tighten. I think, the regulations are going to ease or shift in a way that allows everyone who can provide the best to come to the game. And you're going to see this now become mainstream. I'm sharing what you already know as financial conversations across communities rather than anyone feeling so isolated. So I just think seeing this hit prime time is what we're looking for. And it's nice to be able to lead all of that now and participate.
Yeah, Jen, thank you so much. Hopefully your in basket doesn't fill up with 1,000 bangs today, but I'm sure it will. Look forward to chatting with you again on the progress. Guys, we will come back to you with other announcements as we make them, other people that are coming in. You're going to be surprised at some of the firms that are getting engaged in this. They're not crypto firms. They're not crypto firms. I mean, they're really not. You're going to be stunned at how far away from crypto they are or that you thought they are, but they're all coming here. This is really a cool opportunity. It's not a money thing. For me, it's not a money thing. It's a connection thing. That's much more valuable than, I'm going to make some money on a ticket. That's not what we're doing here. We're trying to bring people together. So, Jen, really appreciate you and look forward to this next 9 months or so.
Excellent. Thanks again, Gary. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Jen, you guys need to follow Jen. She's an awesome human being. I'm excited to work with her. This is a really good example where a guy like me doesn't have the finesse and the patience and the details and the skills to run one of these, but most certainly it's needed, right? So I partner up with somebody that can run it, has passion with it, knows people that I don't know, and that just makes that makes me stronger because it's a little bit like playing baseball with a nine-member team instead of trying to play baseball by myself. So I like learning from people, and I like people being able to help others expand. I think we do that more rapidly if we work together. So, all right, you guys know where we're headed. That's Jennifer Katrulya at Jen Cat Official on X. I want you to smash her name all over X so she becomes convicted to come over from the dark side of LinkedIn. If you're interested in individual packages, they're about less than $3,000. And corporate packages are about 5 to 10. You guys contact Jen if you're interested in either participating as a participant and a learner, or if you want to promote what your concept or business is, with the intention of educating people, not selling people and stuff. All right, guys, thank you very much. You guys have an awesome day. Make sure you're loaded up on Bitcoin and do something nice for someone today. I didn't charge you for this little recording. Jen didn't charge you. This is our way of trying to be nice to the world. We think good karma is a good play long term. So see you guys later. Enjoy your life.